Dream Your Life Amazing, Chapter 2. Begin by dreaming. Brainstorming or dream casting. It is interesting that the best way to brainstorm is to turn off your brain. The technique found in this chapter is pivotal and should weave through all the months of your dreaming, your projects, and your life's adventures. The keys found here, if implemented regularly, will keep you on track and help you stay in the passion zone. As important as this chapter will be, some find it easy to complete, while others find it challenging and brainstorming. As important as this chapter will be, some will find it easy to complete, while others will have challenges in brainstorming. So, whether you have an easy time with brainstorming or a hard time, I will help you traverse the dream and come out with visionary resolve. Below, you'll see a page from the Dream Planner workbook. Brainstorming is the first knock on your dreaming. It gives you the ability to clarify what you really desire to do with your life and gives you permission to dream. The brainstorming stage begins by writing anything that comes to mind without rationalizing why, how, or what it will look like. The three primary categories, as illustrated on the brainstorming page, are skills, accomplishments, and legacy. And then there's one subcategory that will help you jog your ideas and help with writing your dreams. For example, there may be skills that you want to develop. Maybe you want to read 700 words per minute or run 7 miles per day or speak on stage. Accomplishments, write the things you want to see done, like plant a garden, get a raise, or travel the world. Legacy, write the things you want to leave behind when you're gone. Examples for legacy would be building 6 orphanages, or write a book to improve children's outlook on life, or building a home for wounded veterans. These titles or examples are not to restrict you in any way, but rather to give you points to jog your ideas. It's perfectly okay if you list a skill under the accomplishments or legacy under the skills section. Thinking's not important, only dreaming. I find there are 2 issues when a person attempts the brainstorming exercise. The first is they have too many items to write down. This is a good thing. Second, they have too few things to write down and have trouble dreaming. Before we talk about those scenarios, I'm going to first talk to you about the 4th category on the page. Who am I? The Who Am I section, though it's not directly connected to your dreaming, it's very important to consider as you go through life. This section will help you define a picture you leave behind when you leave a room. Do you know that when you leave a room, people talk about you? You know this is true because you talk about other people when they leave the room. I want you to consider that you have control over that story. Most people have a story about you. Think about it like your personal brand or the essence you leave when people meet you. When I was a very young man, the greatest desire was that whenever I entered or left the room, I wanted people to take me seriously. Here I was, a smart kid, but people looked at me as insignificant. They ignored most of what I had to say. I was determined to be heard and wanted to be thought of as a smart guy. This is fairly typical young guy response or young guy desire to be looked upon as being smart. But as I got older and learned many of the tricks of communication and building a story as the smart guy, I realized that it was not as valuable to be the smart guy. It was way more valuable to be the guy who cared. This is the power of continually revisiting the brainstorming page as often as you can, because what you think is your best dream can actually be a distraction and consume the time you'd be using to reach a higher purpose, which we'll address and refine and define section. Removing dis. The prefix dis in Roman mythology actually means god of the underworld. We see this prefix in many of our English words. For example, whenever we use the prefix dis in front of certain words, it becomes a negative attribute like dissuading, dis-ease, discouragement, or distraction. Dis stops us from moving forward and from finding our divinity, our calling, and our destiny. Master this skill and challenge yourself today to see if there's any areas of your life where you might be able to remove dis from your life. This is something you can use for yourself, for your children, for your spouse, or your employees. As you become more and more of a leader, you will learn dis is one of the things that's keeping people back. If you become a master of defining and killing it, you become a master of destiny, not only for you, but for the people you lead. The push. The man who does not war against decay has subjected his circumstances to lies and death. Everything in life requires a push. To do anything great in life requires a push. If you're going to have a baby, guess what you have to do? Life requires push. A blade of grass has to push. The mountains push up. The rivers push down. There's always something pushing and moving. Like being an athlete, you're going to push against weights, something opposing you. In life, there's always something opposing you. If you stop pushing in your marriage, you will have a dysfunctional marriage. If you stop pushing on the job, you're not going to get the raise. If we stop pushing in relationships, we don't continue improving, fixing, or making relationships better. They're going to decay. It's an inescapable nature of life. Leave something alone, like the most beautiful garden in the world, the garden dies. The nature of growth, change, or mastery is the nature of life. It's called the push. What I would like to do is reverse what's happening in our culture. People don't want to push. They don't speak in public, they don't better themselves, nor do they offend those who are not pushing or striving for excellence. Our current culture has made it culturally unacceptable to push. It's become frowned upon to push others to become better. It's now called judging, or don't make waves, or have an opinion on what might be right or wrong. More and more, the world is taking on a non-push ideology. This leaves only the option for the things we value most to be left to decay. Decay morally, decay intellectually, and to decay of culture of individual excitement to be the best or the smartest or to excel. There are so many reasons not to push, but you must even push against the reasons. Push is the human experience. Don't apologize. The winners in all arenas push. If they can, so can you. The most inspirational start I see in individuals is when they get that pop moment, or when they see someone doing something they would love to do and realize for themselves, if they can do that, so can I. That was my first pop moment while I was hiding in my friend's closet. And throughout my youth, I saw over and over again that people who were doing amazing things were not special. They were not supermen. They were not superwomen. Many times we make excuses saying to ourselves, I'm not as smart as him, or I'm not as pretty as her, or my personality is not. I can tell you for a certainty that with only a few exceptions, all the successful people I know are not any better equipped than the rest of the world. They're not smarter, they're not more confident, they're not more beautiful. What they do have is a work ethic or a knowledge that helps them gain success. But you need to start telling yourself that you can do anything. If someone else has, then so can you. Hang around people and events that are training success, and you will see that within a very short amount of time, you will find someone that you can relate to with a story that will help you find this place of, I can do this.